What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Creator Spotlight, a series here on my second YouTube channel where I teach people how to grow their brands. We talk about the growth of YouTube, social media in general. If you are new here, please make sure you subscribe and also hit that notification bell. As you know, both here and on my variety channel, I do not have a post schedule. I only post when I feel cute. So if you want to be here when I post a video, you got to hit that notification bell. I am so excited. Literally, my heart is beating so fast because today's guest, it is literally a full circle moment. We worked together years ago. We are basically family. For those of you who are here from my variety channel, this is Russell's sister. Russell has made many appearances over on my main channel. So today, my guest for Creator Spotlight, she has literally, I have her stats here. I wrote them down. Almost 400,000 followers on TikTok. And over on YouTube, just this past 30 days, I don't even know if she knows this, 22,000 views and 2,000 subscribers. I am so proud of her. Welcome, Jennifer. How are you, girl?
Nigel, I'm so glad to be here. I love you so much. We're family. It's been a long journey, yes. And I'm so proud of you and where everything has gone in this last, it's literally been like 9 years since we did the original interview.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, before Jennifer ran her amazing brand right now of JK Ultra, she had a podcast and I was a guest on her podcast. And that was one of my first pieces of content I ever made, was being a guest on your podcast. And the fire it gave me, like, I don't think I ever got to tell you that that's so much a part of like what I do today. Because you left, you like went back to LA and I was like itching for more. Like I was just,
I have to send you the audio. I have to send you, maybe you could do something with that original interview, kind of like listen to it and kind of reflect on how things are the same, how things have changed.
Yeah. No, I remember I was so young. I was like in my mid-20s when we did that.
I was in my 20s.
How time has flown. But yes, you have come full circle. So what was that journey like? So I loved your podcast, by the way, and I'll always be a fan of your voice and just you as a creator in general. So the fact that you're where you're at today, I'm not surprised at all. And even when Russell came to me and showed me, I was like, oh, finally. Like I never expected anything less from you. So what was that journey like from then, back when you were doing your podcast heavy, till now? Because to me, it seems like overnight success, but I also know that that's not a real thing. So what is your journey like?
I know, as far as TikTok, it does feel like an overnight success because it happened very quickly. But that's like, also, I've been kind of having this conversation with a few of my friends too, is because I feel like I had been working tirelessly for over a decade, not just on putting out content, but also, I write and I've been working on this book and I do screenplays and I do all these things. And it's like, I always felt like all of those things I was putting so much work into, and then it was not getting like, the fruits of my success.
Yeah.
And then the TikTok thing just kind of happened very quickly. But I feel like, one, all of those things brought me to that point where I'm able to have the TikTok where I can share information. And then at the same time, it's like, now that the ball is rolling, thank God that I have 10 years of work that hasn't really been seen yet, because I was giving so much energy to that work, like writing and all of this stuff. And then it's like, now if I had to write a book today, I wouldn't have the time or energy. So thank God that a lot of that stuff is 98% done, because I really only have 2% to give to it now.
Yeah.
So my advice is always, like, this has been my advice for a few of my friends recently who kind of feel like they're doing a lot of work and not seeing the full impact of it yet. Mm-hmm. Like, I felt that way for 10 years. And then once one thing goes well, you're like, wow, now I have people to watch this. Now I have people to talk about this with. Mm-hmm. And it's like, once the time comes, all of those things you've been working on, it's like, thank God. Because then you don't have, once things are rolling, you don't have the energy to do all that you did in those 10 years.
Right.
And I actually, with the podcast stuff, I did that kind of before everyone had a podcast,
You did.
And it was grueling because there wasn't as much like resources and stuff, and you had to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
And I had stopped doing the podcast in like 2017, which is when really podcasting started to take off. But I was just exhausted by that point because it took so much work because, you know, you're booking the person, you're editing it, you're doing the website, it's like nonstop doing, especially when you're doing it on your own. Even though it's fulfilling when you do it on your own, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And, you know, I kind of think I did have some success with the podcast, but I feel like the big difference between that and now is that the authenticity, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
In the podcast, I was definitely, you know, being myself, but I was also so aware that like we're recording for a podcast, you know? And when I started TikTok, which was only, you know, in the beginning of this year, I was like, you know what? I don't care if anyone watches. I don't care. I'm not going to put on makeup. I'm not going to do all of this. I'm going to just post what I like. And I really don't care who sees it, what. And I just put my authentic self into it. Whereas with the podcast, I kind of feel like I was dancing around talking about certain personal things. And not even that I'm sharing personal stuff on my TikTok at this time, but it's my authentic interest. It's not like, oh, because it's an interview that people are listening to, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that was the big difference, is that like really showing up as your authentic self is the difference. And also times have changed,
Yes.
you know? Even before the pandemic, like it still wasn't authentic. It was still Instagram curated, edited, filters. And after 2 years of everyone being like, you know what, none of this matters. Now all the people who are being authentic and aren't like, oh, here's my perfect outfit and my perfect makeup and my perfect life.
Yeah.
People didn't want to see that anymore. And I think that like opened up for different types of creators and more authentic work.
Yes. Yes. That 10 years for you, or that time between then and now, I just think like so beautiful, because for me, I remember talking to you like last time I saw you in LA, and we naturally would have conversations about the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And when we did that, I noticed like a fire in your eyes. Like I wanted to learn from you. I wanted to know everything that was in your mind. There's something special about this niche and you that you could have showed me, like, oh, I just started a TikTok about blah, 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 about this niche yesterday. And I would tell you yesterday, you're gonna blow up, because I already know you love it. You know your knowledge about it. And if it wasn't for all those years of you experiencing those stories that you're telling now, we would never even, you know what I mean? We wouldn't be where we're at today. So I think everything happens for a reason. So
it's so true what you're saying about kind of like the fire in your eyes when you're talking about it, you know, because it's like, you know, that's the thing. I say, you know, they talk a lot about like niche and stuff like that now. And I think that's like very important.
yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like the niche should be what gets you excited.
Yeah.
As opposed to like curating what's important, you know, to a certain topic. It's like, regardless, whatever gets you excited and you want to share, and you like, you can't even get the words out fast enough because you want to tell people so bad.
Yeah.
That's your niche, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like so many people may start a TikTok or may start a channel for the wrong reasons. And they're like, hey, I started a channel. Or a lot of my students, a lot of my clients, they are like, what do I upload? What do I do? And I'm like, you shouldn't maybe be on this. If you don't know what, like if it doesn't come to you quick, you know what I mean? It should be, like you said, that one thing burning up in your heart that you need to talk about. If you don't have that, then I don't know if like being a creator is like, you know what I mean? Like we can try, but you have to feel it. Like,
and exactly, for different people, it's going to be all different things. You know, I also too, I have a lot of friends that they have great knowledge, they're performers, they're great at things, but then they're kind of like having this like little hurdle of like, how do I bring it to like TikTok or social media and stuff? And I'm like, you know, like pretend you're telling it to me.
yeah.
Pretend you're telling me this thing that you're really excited that you'd learned.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It can't be taught, like that passion and that drive to want to speak about what we speak about on our social media. It can't be taught. And that's the one thing I tell people, like when you're picking your theme or your niche or whatnot, don't think so much about like, what do people want to see? Think about your inner self and what is your personal interest? What is your niche inside you? And that's what you display on camera. That's what you put up on TikTok.
And even for you with like the reaction videos and stuff, it's like, your passion is Britney and these things. Like, so when it's like, it doesn't need to be like something like, oh, it's so profound, I'm sharing, you know, like the secrets of the world. It's like, no, Britney is what gets you fired up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what works, because people are looking for that authentic self, that real reaction. So it doesn't need to be like, oh, okay, you know, this is the most groundbreaking, I just discovered a new animal or something, you know?
Right.
It's like, yeah, whatever really truly excites you.
Yeah. I was so lucky that that ended up being part of what I do, because yeah, for the people who know me, they know that so much of me is music and pop culture. So when I started that, it's the funniest thing, because I literally did it. I started the channel and I was doing random things, and I said to myself, I said, I'm just gonna record myself watching an old Britney Spears performance. And I uploaded it, and that's when I found out that thousands of people had already done it. I had no idea that that reaction community even existed. And I love telling that story, because too many people are jumping into that community with their thoughts that they can grow, they can get views, and they're sitting there with dead face. And I'm like, what are you doing? At the end of the day, you're making me look better, because people come onto my channel and they're like, oh, real emotion. Like, oh my gosh. I'm like, what is everyone else doing that you're so excited that I'm like real? Like, and people are just
It's the
picking what
true
they think.
excitement of
Yeah. People
the
are picking what they
reaction.
think people want to see. It's crazy.
And you know, it's also something too, because a lot of times people are doing that to something that like just came out. A lot of the reaction videos, like it's like, oh, okay, here's this new thing. But it's like, I like that you were like, no, I'm gonna go back to the OG stuff that I love, and
Yeah.
my reaction is still just as good as if I saw it the first time.
Yeah, that was the whole point. I wanted to share, like, that's what was passionate to me at that time. And I was also making my own music. So I wanted to go down this journey of paying tribute to the things I love. And then when people started giving suggestions of new music, I said, oh, well, this is a great time for me to like broaden my horizons and learn it all. And I've just never looked back in the same way that you have. And we're just, I feel like we're hitting the gas pedal so hard right now. And I'm so proud of you.
It's falling into place.
Yeah, we've been creators for a long time, and I think that's part of why we do so well right now, and we have such a grasp, because we've almost been like waiting for this moment, like you said, you know, waiting for that audience. And now that we have them, we're like carefully delivering what we want, you know.
True. And like with you, you know, you've always been like, all of the work that you put into Jasmine and your performances and your music. So it's like you were already creating on all of these other platforms and different mediums, you know, and even yourself as the medium, you know? So it's like, then it really like comes together when, you know, now you're funneling all of that into like, you know, creative content online.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. I feel, and it doesn't it feel effortless that you get to talk about something that you love so much, like.
It does. It really does.
So I was gonna ask one of my questions. Out of mind you, I've gone through so much of your content, but I still have so much more to go through, and I love that. Keep up those vibes, because I have people constantly telling me like I'm so behind on videos. And I'm like, good. Like that means I'm doing my job. Like,
Like, good. You have enough time to catch up. I have enough time to catch up.
but for the things that I have seen of yours, I'm always so amazed. And you know, some things do go over my head, as I am that blonde, I'm that girl. But at the same time, as you know, I'm like partially woke. You know what I mean? I
You
know.
are, for sure. We've had our
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you were early on.
you definitely get a lot deeper than I've ever imagined. Like I was in your I rewatched one of the TikTok lives the other day, and I was like, this is so, it was like late. I was like going to bed. I was like, this is so deep. I was like, I'm scared. Like I was like, I'm freaking myself out. But I wanted to ask you. No, it's okay. It's like I'm like, it's weird because you have that comforting voice, you know what I mean? So you can talk about all these other dimensions and demons and lizards, and I'm like, it's fine. It's coming from Jen. They're not gonna get me. We're fine. But I was gonna ask, out of all the things that you talked about thus far, what's like your favorite kind of like story or theory? Like what really do you like, or do you love talking about the most?
Okay, so you know, on my TikTok, the way that I've ended up doing it, which kind of also just happened naturally,
Mhm.
is that I ended up doing the series. you know? So like I have my apocalyptic prophecy series, then my Earth Shift series, my Mandela Effect series, and right now I'm in my After Disclosure Alien series. And all of them I'm very passionate about. And they're all things that I've gone down those rabbit holes before, but the one that is most important to me is definitely the Earth Shift. There's like 25 parts to that series. So, but the thing with the Earth Shift is that basically it's this concept about us being here on Earth right now to shift the world from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, and basically to teach people how to create their own reality. So instead of them trying to basically fight the injustices of the world by fighting back and forth with it, you actually can just change the world by changing yourself inside, healing inside. It's going to ripple out into your reality, and the world is going to change that way, as opposed to coming like tooth and nail, like, oh, these people who disagree with me, I'm going to fight them to the death on social media. So it's like, that is, I think, such an important concept, because it's like, people want change in the world, but kind of matching the same energy as that like negativity in the world is not how you make change. So I feel like it was just a lot of like explanation, and also the whole thing with the fifth dimension. There's a lot of crazy cults and stuff that have used that information for negative reasons. So I feel like putting like that positive spin on every bad thing that could possibly happen, even if it is the apocalypse in 10 years, you know, that you are able to create anything. And if you want a better world, you start healing yourself, and you just know in your mind, because everything starts with a thought. So you have to think, in the end, the light wins, good wins, everything works out, everything is fine, everyone lives their greatest life ever. And I don't think it's a coincidence that everyone's like living my best life. You know, I don't think that that's a coincidence, because that's kind of what's collectively happening. So kind of just putting that into like very easy, digestible explanations of how to do it, why to do it, and what the result could be. I feel like that is like the most important thing I've talked about. The rest is exciting entertainment, but the other one, I'm like, we could change the whole planet by doing this.
Right. And I love that, because throughout this journey, you know, it's had its ups and downs, but I got to this point where I kind of stopped like harking over the views and the vanity metrics. And I really started thinking about the impact that I was having on people, because the numbers I got to that point where the numbers are going to rise no matter what. I've worked hard and I'm lucky. So the number, it's what I do now is on autopilot. So now it's more so about like, how can I change people's lives and what type of impact can I leave? So I love that you said that, because that's probably one of the most profound things that's going on with your niche, where people can actually be changed. And you'd be surprised how many people click subscribe or click follow because of that opportunity to change themselves and become a better person based off of what we're saying. Like, that's really powerful stuff. Like,
I know, and that's really, I think, what is important too, like, is kind of like obviously helping other people. And most people's purpose in this life is to help other people, although it's through different ways. A lot of times we're kind of programmed to think like helping other people means like doing charity or giving to the homeless. But actually, there's millions of different ways to help people, and you don't really understand the impact of how much even a conversation like this could help someone, you know? And when you really start thinking about like, this is helping people, the universe rewards you back, because I feel like, you know, I haven't really like, a lot of creators are able to monetize and do all of these things. Like, people with a lot less followers are making their whole living off of social media. And I'm like, interesting. But obviously my type of content is not really easy to sponsor either, unless aliens want to sponsor it. But
you know what? It is, and you will be sponsored. We'll definitely get into that. You will.
Oh, good. Those are some of my questions. And basically, though, I feel like, even though it hasn't been like immediately from that, I feel like since I started doing that type of content and putting out information that's going to help people kind of deal with what's happening in the world without directly talking about the political and social stuff that's happening in the world, I feel like the universe has been left and right giving me everything that I need. So I feel like there's this woman that I follow on YouTube. Her name is Marina Jacoby. She talks about a whole bunch of stuff. But one of the things she talks about is energetic philanthropy. And that basically, if you're paying into the collective is paying back to you. So you don't need to worry about like charging and this and that and the monetization and that and all, and worry about all of that. You just worry about what you're contributing and you will receive what you need. And I'm like, I love that concept.
Yeah, and I threw that revenue right up there with the vanity metrics. Mind you, I have to take the revenue off the shelf every now and then because like a bitch gotta survive. So I keep an eye on it. But I do put it in the back, and I do think more about, because when I started getting those comments, people were telling me they were, in chemotherapy watching my videos. People were telling me they left when I was uploading toxic relationship videos back when I was with my boyfriend, like people were like, I left my boyfriend, I left my husband, like serious things are, yeah. So the impact was so much bigger than like a view. And I was like, I have to pay attention to this. And since then I've seen an increase. It's so funny how the minute I step away from the analytics, I pay attention to the impact. That's when I think you're right. The universe was just giving it back to me. Things just started happening. And I was like, oh, I haven't even looked at my analytics. I'm just trying to make people feel good. Like, that's it. Like,
exactly. Even I have I've made a bunch of TikTok friends now too. And, sometimes I'll talk about like the analytics and stuff. And they're like, I don't know, the For You page is low and this. And I was like, you know what? I'll look at the initial views within the first couple hours just to kind of see those first couple hours, what's happening with the views, but you don't have analytics in those first hours. It's just the number of views.
Right.
And then I never really went back and looked at them. And I was like, wow, and then I was looking through and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Because you learn a lot by looking at the analytics, but I was like, wow, it's like you're saying, is that more has happened by not looking at those things and really just looking at the comments of people who are like, wow, you just changed my perspective on life.
Right.
That's the analytics that like truly matter.
Yeah, definitely. And I watch your YouTube analytics because I'm
glad you do, and you have to explain them to me because I'm like confused in the studio.
Yeah, no, I definitely can go through that with you. I'd love to. That's how I got the stats for your past 30 days. That 2,000 subscribers in 30 days and 22,000 views is incredible. And what's happening to your YouTube is basically it's coming over from your TikTok. It's literally just, and it's so effortless because it's connected, and the more you can lead people from TikTok to YouTube, like the better. That's why I'm so happy to have you here, because I think you're the first guest who has found like TikTok fame in a world right now where so many people are, and it's so important to talk about because I'm so tired of the people like getting the thousands, like going viral and getting there and then not knowing what to do with it. It drives me crazy. Like, and it's happening to too many people. Like,
and it's hard to keep up. I feel like that's something that a lot of, especially on TikTok creators, I see happening on different people's pages, because it's like, it's not easy to go viral on TikTok, but once it does, it's very quick how it happens. And it kind of is like, usually every time that I see someone newly go viral, it's like they didn't even expect it on that video. It's always the video they did not expect.
Right.
Maybe the video they didn't want to go viral.
That too.
And then it's kind of hard. I feel like after that happens, they feel a pressure. How do I keep up? How do I top this? How do I do that? And I think that they overthink it, as opposed to seeing that the video that went viral is them being their authentic self, something that was really them. And then trying to be like, oh, how do I top it? You're losing the authenticity that people originally loved.
Right. Well, the problem probably was the video that went viral was never authentic to begin with.
True.
So they were probably following a trend. It picked up, and then now they're stuck with this viralness. And then what do you do next? Versus your situation, if you do a video on a certain conspiracy and that goes viral, guess what? You have in your brain 7 more videos ready to go because this is what you love. That's the difference between that person and you. And I don't think that person, there's so many of that person. So like, shout out to that person for your viral video, but have your ish in place so that when that happens, you're not kind of complaining like, oh, I have 1 million followers and nothing to show for it. You have to set that up. That's something that no one's going to hand you. And both YouTube and TikTok are not cutting big checks. So it's up to us as creators to have multiple
checks are way bigger than the TikTok checks.
The what?
The YouTube checks are way bigger than the TikTok checks.
That's why I'm trying to get you to funnel your TikTokers.
I know, and I'm not really allowed to. I wasn't allowed to monetize on TikTok, so I don't have monetization on TikTok because I've had so many community violations. Because I talk about the crazy stuff.
They're playing games over there.
They've come for me. They've banned me. They've come for me.
You're gonna be fine on YouTube because I'll tell you this. As you probably know, I have studied, the algorithm of YouTube and coaching so many videos. I spent hours just going through the eras of YouTube and really learning about the platform. And one of the things I came across was there was this whole era of time for YouTube where conspiracy theorist videos were #1. So when I tell you you're in good hands over here, you're good. Get those talkers over here, and it's totally possible.
I think what we were just talking about of kind of like knowing like other things that you already kind of have like 7 videos or whatever in mind when you're making one. I think one of the things with that is kind of like too, like, I do series, but not everyone has to do the series in the same type of way. But basically, like when I'm coming up with like what I want to talk about, I'm already like, okay, there's like 100 other things that are related to this. And I think another reason why I've done well on TikTok, just especially from looking at some other people's stuff, is that, I have the storytelling background from being a writer. So it's really that format of like, obviously the hook in the beginning that everyone talks about, and then, you get into all the nitty gritty. But then that last point is like, you have to hook them to why they need to come back. So like for me with the series, it's like, oh, okay, well, here's the rest of it is coming up next. And it's like, I think that's another thing for people to think about as opposed to just like one idea. It's like, what is everything connected to this idea? And how do I hook them at the end of the video to make sure they want to see something else about this topic?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you already do such a good job with that. One of the things I was going to tell you to get the people from over there is you could always do not full videos even on TikTok. Like really leave that cliffhanger and let them know yada yada yada. Also, if you guys want to hear the rest of the story, head over to my YouTube channel for the full video. Yeah, always like if you can do any plug, because they're already invested, they're already listening, they're already being part of this journey with you. So they're there for you. So they're gonna cross over. That's again the difference between someone who's randomly asking you, please come over to my channel, versus someone it's niche to niche. They're here for that story and you're only gonna bring them a bigger version of the story. So it's a benefit for everyone and you'll get
I have this plan that I've been in my head. It's been in my head for months now, but I haven't fully executed it yet. I've been a little stumbling on the idea of how to fully do it. But, I have these TikTok series and a lot of people were like, I want this as one full thing. So I could just watch it in full on my TV or on my computer or show someone. So I want to put all of my series as like one long documentary, but then adding additional info that wasn't in the TikToks, because to squeeze everything in 3 minutes is really hard.
I was gonna say like
your topics.
Yeah, your content is better for long term anyway. So you should use the TikTok as a vessel to just get people over to the channel and have the full stories ready to go, and they'll watch them. I mean, they already are, and anything you put up there, they're just already so connected to you. So it's beautiful.
And I love it. It's like, honestly, I feel like I've cultivated like the nicest group of people. Like I have like, people are so freaking nice on TikTok. And I'm like, this has to be my experience because I know it's not everyone's experience. But I'm like, people are so sweet and kind. I'm like, I'm so lucky to have like these like sweet people.
I mean, that comes down to like you being authentic. You'd be surprised how just by being yourself can open up so many doors. So many people see people reach different types of success and they try to follow that person's path to reach the same success. And I'm like, you have your own journey. Like everyone has, you know what I mean? And you have to be patient. You have to be kind. You have to really do what you love. And when that happens, they see it. The internet is not dumb. That's the one thing I realized. You cannot play these people out. Like you either know your shit or you don't. I mean, I've learned that over here on the coaching channel more than anything, because it's been a slow uprise, and I'm like, that's fine. I realize I have to prove to people that I know what I'm talking about, and that's why I continuously get on here every day and talk my ass off. You know what I mean? And until I get to that point, you just have to keep proving that. And but the people who see you know what you're doing will stick by you, and that's what happened to you. And it just grows. It just grows with you. It's everything's a
Exactly. You make
snowball.
that impact on someone, they're always with you then, you know? Like I think about the people who've inspired me, you know? Like so many, and I reference a lot of it in my videos, the authors that I read or the thing that I watched. And it's like those people, some of them are not even alive anymore. And it's like that impact is what inspired me to share that information. And then me sharing that information inspires someone else to make their own page and inspire other people. It's like a beautiful jigsaw puzzle.
I know. It's absolutely, I know. It's mind bending, and it just keeps going and going. And I love this. I love the snowball effect of it, where every time you post a video, it's the older people and then it's the new people too. And they all just like have so much fun down below.
It's so true.
I was gonna ask, like, for your videos and for your information, I'm sure this is something that a lot of your viewers would want to know. Like, what's your process like just getting it ready? Like, do you do a lot of different research, and are you connected to other like, do you go to other YouTubers and creators for some of your sources?
So I don't do too much pre-work because like I said, I have a couple of other friends that do similar type of content on TikTok who I've met through TikTok. And they've asked me also about the process that I do. And it seems like their process is a little bit more structured, and they kind of write out like a little bit of a script and they plan out like what they want to show. For me, I feel like I kind of, okay, so there's a couple different ways of how I do it. It's like, one of them is basically I kind of like, these are things that like for the last at least 10 years, I've been in the shadows researching and stuff. So I have like the catalog of all of this in my brain. So it's great to be able to put it out there. As far as like when I do a specific video, I don't do that much pre-work. I kind of like figure out what needs to be in this, and I'll look through and find some different screenshots and stuff to show the information. So I do like only that little bit of pre-work. And then as far as like the wording and stuff, I just wing it.
That's
You know,
fine.
like, I just wing it like of what needs to be. But it's also because it's like, if I was researching a brand new topic, I don't think I would be able to do that.
Right.
You know, these are things that I already am excited about and already know about. So I can just wing it.
Yeah.
But, and then, you know, you're like, literally like the way I do it is like 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, because I don't have enough time to breathe in between words, or that means I can't add another detail.
Yeah.
So I do it that way. But as far as like this series, because like we're talking about, it's not just one video. I'm like, okay, this is this entire thing, the whole entire apocalyptic prophecies from all different places around the world, or like everything about aliens and all the different alien races and stuff. So that I'll kind of get the idea as I'm finishing the other series, or like midway of the previous series. I'll see what a lot of the comments are. A lot of times it's like the comments kind of let me know what I need to do next, because the questions that are being asked, the concerns that are being brought up, like right now I'm doing the alien series, and the comments are very much like, aliens are demons, these are evil, and everyone's talking a lot about like good and evil, and there is an element of that, of course, but then it's kind of making me think like, wow, should my next series be about like duality and dualism and polarity, because this is what's coming up, that people's concerns, you know. And then I do have a little bit of a mystical influence. So I've talked about it a bunch of times on my page and my channel, the Akashic records, which, are you familiar with the Akashic records?
No, I'm not familiar with it, but I know you've spoken about it because I've gone through like your subject.
So it's basically like in the astral, there is a place, like a spiritual place between all the dimensions, that is all the information of everything that has ever happened, everything that will happen, every timeline. It's like, we see it as a library, but now as we advance, it's more like a supercomputer. Oh, wow. And that is like every single person, when they like go there in the astral, they'll have a book of their life, of all of their lives, of their soul story, of everything. And it can be accessed through meditation. There's a book called How to Read the Akashic Records by Linda Howe, which it gives you basically the rundown of how to do it. And then you practice it through meditation. So I feel very connected to the Akashic Records.
Mhm.
So in the beginning of my series, I ask for what is important to be in this series. And I basically then get a list of everything that I need to make sure that is in that series, because my intention is also to share the information with the people who need it.
Yeah.
So that kind of guides me of like what's important to add and what's important to have.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, sometimes like with the Apocalypse series, I talked about the Antichrist, and that was like so like I was not expecting that type of reaction. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna start a witch hunt. And like it got pretty bad. So then I had to ask the Akashic Records. I'm like, oh man, did I do the right thing here? I feel like maybe I gave information that wasn't supposed to be given. And I swear, when I went to the Akashic Records, the energy I felt was like, why did you do that?
Right.
They were like, why did you do that? But they gave me the information of what had to come next, which is why I did the Urchief series, because they told me like, now you told everyone all the scary freaking info that is going to give them nightmares, and that's not what you want to do here. So now you need to counteract it and really teach people how to change their reality and how to make a better world. And I'm like, okay, I'll fix it. I'll fix it.
So besides that book for your research for your channel and for your TikTok, are there any other like authors or anyone that you look for to help get information together for your TikToks and for the stories?
I have so many, and people are always asking for book recommendations. So I did make a whole book recommendation video. Because, and then kind of like, I mean, it's so many books, and then I kind of give like a little like info about each one. So I feel like that was like an easy way to get people to kind of just know where they can get more information about the stuff that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we got a nice little juicy backstory on how you got to where you're at, and also just how you got all the information for both of your TikTok and your YouTube. So where do you see yourself going forward? And are there any questions that I can help you answer that may be a little like mind-boggling for you? Because I love, you're like this baby deer in the forest, and I love it because you're doing everything you're supposed to do, like I told you earlier. And because of that, because it's authentic, you might not even need any of my tips or advice, because you're naturally just going to grow, because you're just doing what so many people can't be taught, if that makes sense.
Well, definitely some of the things that I would like to ask you about is, kind of like the transition of it being a business, because at this point it's really like my hobby has blown up. But so far what I've done as my first step of it being a business was that I made t-shirts for which I'm wearing right now, by the way.
Yes.
Women who follow community guidelines rarely make history. JK Ultra.
I love it. And I'm going to end up having all your information linked down below. So anyone who is, you guys got to check out her t-shirts. It literally is amazing. And even above that, your commercial on your TikTok for I said, she is really like, I can't compete. Like that's you are just, it was iconic, and it grabbed their attention. It was funny. It was authentic. You were like making fun of the consumer world while still selling like, there's nothing better. I was so proud of you for that. And it looks amazing. Your merch looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. So that was pretty much the one thing that I've done to kind of, monetize back all the time and energy that I've put into it. And like I said, I'm trusting the universe is going to provide for me, but I also need those tips of how to, help the universe help me.
Definitely. So already your merch is amazing, and if you didn't have it already, I would literally give that to you as a tip to start to receive revenue. And it's perfect because it's on brand, it's on niche, it's something that people can relate to through the content you have. So my first tip for that is definitely make sure I saw like you have like that beacon link tree in your TikTok. So we want to get that link almost at the top part of your description box of all your YouTube videos.
Oh.
So as the YouTube videos are gaining momentum and gaining views, when you have that down in the description box, it's right there. It's going to connect, and you want to find words that connect to that video. So if you have a video about that Mona Lisa conspiracy and you list right down below, right there, Mona Lisa graphic tee by JK Ultra, they will click that because they're already in the video learning about the Mona Lisa.
Yes.
See? So
Yes.
it's very like connective, and the YouTube channel is really fast, and so is TikTok. But the thing is, with TikTok, you can gain those thousands of views, but there's not, they have to click off of that and go to your profile to get to your link. Versus on YouTube, they can be watching the video, and in the description box, that link for the merch is right there.
True.
Another thing is, I came across one of your videos, and you had talked about that you've done some readings in the past, or you have the ability to do kind of, so if you want, you know, I don't ever know where you stand financially or what you need to make, but to convert what I do here, you know, I have my channel here, but I also, in the description box of all of my creator teaching videos here, my #1 link is my Calendly link, where people can book me for those one-on-one consultations to kind of help me. I help them personalize their channel, go through their analytics, audit it, tell them what they need to fix. So I offer that as a coaching service via Calendly that I charge for. And if you are ever at that point where you need more revenue, don't be afraid to put, you know, a money symbol on the knowledge. Yeah. And you'd be surprised how many people do. I mean, I don't know exactly what you offer, but tarot card readings in general are huge on YouTube. People go live all the time, and people will tip and give donations per reading. So,
and that's something also that I haven't really done either, is the tipping. You know, I haven't implemented that into anything, and I see basically everyone on TikTok has their Cash App in their bio.
yeah.
My bio is kind of like curated to the thing, and I don't have any more characters for a tip, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have enough characters, and I'm kind of like, my bio's the vibe, so I'll keep the vibe.
Can you throw it
But
on your beacon on that link tree that you have?
probably what I should do, and then
Yeah.
would you suggest that I mention it in a video that, like, I'm now accepting your tips?
Jennifer, absolutely. Let me tell you something. We're working. You know, we love what we do. We love to create content. We love to talk. We love to tell our stories, learn our stories. But at the end of the day, if we want this to be our full-time streams of revenue, getting us through life, we can't be afraid. And I speak from experience with that, because I was, you know, I ended up I do the reactions I post, but I have flipped that, and I host live reaction shows where people tip via, yeah. So you have to find different ways to flip your content around. And the people who are with you, they understand, like, it's no secret that the ad revenue on TikTok and YouTube are low. And if we want to make this our full-time living, we have to find different ways. So absolutely, at the end of every TikTok and YouTube video, you humbly and casually say, hi, if you love the content you are learning today and you want more, please support me by either subscribing to my channel or heading to my Cash App, and da 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 da. I love to give people the option, because you can make money and grow without people tipping. So if you say, you know, if you want to support me by subscribing to the channel, sharing the video, or sending a tip to my Cash App at blah, 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 it gives people the option. So if they're financially able to help, they can. But if not, just subscribing and sharing your videos is going to help you anyway. Because remember, if you put that link for your merch up at the top, them just sharing your videos should already be helping you generate more revenue anyway. So yeah, there's like little tips like that. And it's really funny, because it's all about just like going for it. You know what I mean? Like, if we sit quiet, then we make nothing. And
That's the hurdle. It's like the hurdle is really like the saying it and, you know, asking it for it. But really what you're doing is you're giving them the option to.
Give them the option, and know that you're worth it and your content is worth it. And they would not be here binging you if you weren't special, if you weren't a great creator, if you weren't an entertainer. And so many times, like, we've been doing this for so long now that we forget like our power. You know what I mean? We forget that like people are leaning on us. So we're allowed to ask for a little bit more. And I just love to put it in those terms, where leave it optional. either have it in the link tree, but absolutely, like I have it in all my description of all my videos. The option is there, and when I remember to say it, I say it. And I'm constantly looking for different revenue streams to become the most best full-time creator I can, and they know that. I've been open and transparent about that from the beginning, so I think that helps too, you know what I mean, to kind of break that wall down a little bit and let them know, like, I love making content. If you want to support my brand, if you want to support these stories, head here. And you would be, I feel like you have that crew that they would send over something.
I'm impressed with just the amount of dedication from the people that follow me that I've received. I'm like, wow, like these people are like, they're authentic, they're dedicated, they do want to support.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I would recommend, even I have a list here of things, and you know, anything I recommend or suggest, feel free to toss anything to the side. I was just, as I was going through your stuff, I had listed things.
You know, and I'm glad that you do. I appreciate it.
Girl, of course, I got you, you know. One of the best parts about this, and like I said, I love the whole coaching charging thing, but the refreshing aspect that I get from helping my close friends and family is like nothing beats it, because I just wish I had someone to go over all this with when I was starting. But you would benefit from a PO box. Have you thought about that yet?
True.
So we get that, and then what we do is we have your link for, so here's how I would see your description box as best fitted to increase your revenue, right? Your top link would be the link for your merch. The second link would be the link for consultations, for readings. And then your third link would be the just a couple spaces down would just be your PO box address.
Wow. Yeah.
And then boom, like, and listen, I've had people send over gifts, which are great, but I've also had people send over cash in cards, or just grateful for the channel, happy to have me, and just send it over a quick $20. That's so beautiful. Yeah. And it's one of those things where like the idea of it is even more special than the money, you know what I mean? It's just the fact that someone thought to send over something just to make my day better, because I was making their day better. So yeah, you would be surprised how many people hit up that description box, and when you give them those options, you know what I mean? That's multiple ways to support you. And some people might not even need the reading. They might not even need the shirt, but they'll click because they know it helps you.
It's so true.
You want to have it there. You want to have it out there. Absolutely.
I love it.
Another thing I had here, and again, optional, but have you ever thought about moving the, not moving, but setting up the JK Ultra podcast, and then kind of multi-taneously, like while you record your videos, have another mic for the audio. And then when you're done, boom, upload her to YouTube, upload a snippet to TikTok, and upload the audio to, I use Anchor for podcasts, so you can use whatever. I don't know if you have one that you used before, but
Anchor. I use Libsyn.
Okay, so does it help distribute to all different like places?
It does. You kind of like put it in one place and then it goes everywhere. And that's definitely something I'm thinking of doing. I feel like I'm a little scarred from having that podcast for so long and doing so much work. I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm ready for all that work, but I love what you're saying is like just repurposing the content and doing it like as just audio at the same time, as opposed to a whole nother production.
Yeah. And then we basically would put the podcast link in that same description box with all your other things. And then I don't know if what you use works the same, but Anchor allows you, it's really kind of cool. Anchor allows you to literally record an ad for them, for Anchor. So I recorded, so I'm basically sponsored by Anchor. And what I do is I repurpose some of I'll have the audio running and I'll repurpose it as podcast content. And then I throw it to Anchor and I throw in a couple of the ads that I made, and you get revenue. And I don't make much from there, but I get someone like you where the people are literally there, you know what I mean? They're there for that Mona Lisa story. And then if you even say like, oh, I have more like this down in my podcast, they're going to click it. So you're then gonna get the revenue, the ad revenue for the video, and you're gonna get that ad revenue for the podcast. And this is all like while you sleep. I love passive income. That's my favorite type of income, is to wake up and know, you know what I mean? Like, so those are two ways that when you go to bed and lay your head down at night, they can stay up all night binging your videos and the podcast. And you know, it's just extra. And you'd be surprised how many people like wanna like maybe watch one of your videos but have something to do and wish they could take it to go.
Yeah,
So remember that when you set up to do a story, because you want to make sure you get it out everywhere. And if you can get that extra audio, then that's just another thing that you can promote even when you're on TikTok. Hey guys, this is a story, blah, blah, blah. If you want the full story, check out my YouTube channel. And if you want to hear more audio versions, check out my podcast. You're just constantly plugging everything that you do, basically.
That's what I need to do more of. I need to do more plugging stuff. But like I said, it just kind of happens on its own that I was like not even ready for it all.
Yeah, I mean, do it as it comes, but also you're at this point where like you're growing. And like I said, a share or a like or a subscribe, that's monetary too. You know what I mean? That means something. So if that's if that's what you're doing right now, that's okay. I went through a huge there's a whole chunk of different eras of creator timeline where like you just focus on your audience. And that's totally okay, because at the end of the day, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, the same audience that you're building today are the same ones that are going to buy that merch and be part of your business. You know what I mean? So whether you sell it to them right now or 2 months from now, it doesn't matter. So you do it as you feel comfortable. Don't ever feel like the pressure to get anything out or do anything, but know that they're there, and you're going up in thousands on both of the apps. So if you posted something every couple of months, it's going to see new faces. Do you use the community tab on your YouTube channel? Do you see that on there?
No.
So there's a thing called the community tab. You have it because it becomes unlocked at 500 subscribers. That's the thing with YouTube. Kind of pay attention to your milestones, because they're giving you things as time goes on. Like they got an
email about a milestone today. Is it smart or maybe, I don't know. I got some milestone today that they sent me, and I was actually going to ask you about it, and I can't believe I forgot the name.
Sometimes they'll just do like happy 10K, but sometimes it comes with things.
Let's see. I have it right here. Eligible for super thanks.
Oh my, okay, great. Wow, okay, yeah, we can get into that. Super thanks. So that is the ability to send over like tips during a live stream on YouTube. Yeah, so if you can again make a quick video on TikTok, let them know, hey guys, I'm going live on YouTube 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, blah blah blah. I'm gonna tell this and that story, whatever you gotta do to hook them to get them over to the channel. And while you're there spilling your heart out for this story, they have the ability to optionally tip.
Yes.
And that's the super thanks. And that's what I use in my live reaction shows. You send over a super thanks, and then I go ahead and do the video that you requested. So another great opportunity to make, so they just unlock that. Yeah, that's the one thing I love about YouTube is they constantly reward you for milestones. And that's what's like pushed me, because every time you get another 10,000, they give you another way to make money. So you'll notice at 20K, I believe you get your merch shelf on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Where it displays at the bottom of all your videos. So you won't even have to put the link for merch. It'll just show.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Mine came late. It came at like 35K, and I was like, I was like emailing them. It was like a whole thing, but I finally got it. It's up and running right now. And yeah, it's just another way. They just continuously give you more. I don't think people talk about that enough, is that like, yeah, the journey is difficult, but you're given like legs up throughout the lifeline of it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think YouTube is really good with that, maybe a little bit better than TikTok, but the benefit of TikTok is the growth is quick. So that's kind of the trade-off, is like a lot of people think that, obviously TikTok pays less and all of it, but the upside to the TikTok is that the growth can happen overnight.
It's crazy.
Whereas the YouTube growth takes more work, but there's a lot more incentives along the way. And then also the ad revenue is higher.
Yeah, you're so set up for perfection, because when I have this conversation with people, a lot of the part of this is me I get people to go start their TikToks to promote their YouTube channels. That's like a big thing right now. So the fact that you already have both they're simultaneously connected. Like you're good, girl. Like you know what I mean? Like you're already at a point where I try to get so many people to that point where it's connected that way, because it's just gonna flow. Like it's only gonna go up from here.
I'm lucky I had a head start, because this channel is actually my my old podcast channel.
I remember it. Yeah,
so
I saw you
started with like 700 subscribers or whatever from my old podcast. Yeah. So that was good. And it was really good, because obviously a lot of people probably didn't realize, but there was one comment on one of my videos that was like, "Oh my God, Carmody Central podcast. I love what you're doing now."
I was gonna say, like, it's not that bad of a transfer. Like those people I'm sure they get it, because even when you had your guests on and stuff, you didn't like have themed shows about what you talk about now, but you definitely dabbled in it. If you know what I mean. So yeah, it was a great transition for sure.
Although the TikTok people, the people that know me from TikTok, they don't know all the old content that is no longer
Isn't that crazy?
They have no idea.
That's how YouTube is sometimes. Like they're like, "Oh, you're great, we love you." I'm like, I had a whole life before YouTube. I don't even know. Like
I know people will be shocked when they realize, which I actually did take down my podcast off. You know, it's too many hundreds of hours of conversation that I don't even remember what I said, that I don't want to be like, I'm not even that person anymore. So I'm like, I'm just going to take it down, because I don't want someone to even like be listening to my old opinions. I'm just starting fresh. But if the people know eventually one day, the guests and everything, that it was like, it was a good backstory.
Yeah, no, and it's an era that your closest people will always be able to reminisce
exactly.
On, so. What was I gonna say? I was just backtracking to how powerful TikTok is. I don't know if you know this, but about a year ago, I realized the power of TikTok, and that's when I now I vouch for it like crazy. I'm still like crazy into YouTube, but I understood the power of TikTok, and that's because I when I first started my channel, I would always stay on Twitter and look at the trending topics of the world. And pretty much what I would do is like see if there was anything trending that was close to my heart, because that's the key right there. If something's trending and I know a lot about it and I jump on it, I always thought that would be the opportunity to grow, right? So long story short, there was a movie that was trending on TikTok that I saw when I was a teenager that like it scarred me. It was a horror movie. The movie was called Megan is Missing.
I've heard of it.
Yes, it's a horror. It's so creepy. It's a horror kidnap movie, and it's a girl gets kidnapped, and it's a whole ordeal. It's like very, very bad movie, and it's traumatizing. Like the way they show her getting kidnapped and everything, it's very like real. Yeah, and this is like in the beginning of like the YouTube era. So this girl's like online, and she meets a guy online, and he takes her, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so scary. And I saw this when I was like 17, literally like years ago, right? So I'm on Twitter, and I noticed Megan is Missing is trending. This is like 6 months ago, right? And I'm like, oh, they don't know. I was like, I have a story for them. So I immediately get on YouTube and I record a 20-minute review and analytical like breakdown of the movie, what it did to me, blah, 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 right? I hit refresh within 3 minutes, 20,000 views.
Wow.
I woke up that next morning, 100,000 views.
Wow.
I go to the comments. All the comments are like, are you here from TikTok? Yeah, girl, I'm here from TikTok. I go over to TikTok. Megan is Missing was trending on TikTok. People didn't know what the movie was, and they were so scared of the little clips they were seeing on TikTok that the majority of the world went to YouTube to search the movie. And when they searched the movie, they found my video.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm very deep into the optimization and analytics. So if you never broke into that, definitely do as much research as you can, because that's how they found me. My hashtags being Megan is Missing review, Megan is Missing documentary, Megan is like just as many as you can. That's what people were typing in, and that's how they found me. So just something to remember, like if something pops off or you want it to pop off or on TikTok and you're like, okay, I'm doing this Egyptian conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. The full video's on YouTube. Make sure you can get over to YouTube. All your hashtags say like Egyptian conspiracy, Egyptian, like as many hashtags that are relevant to your brand as possible. Because remember, that's what people are searching all day long. So that's your best bet to get found, and that's your authentic traffic. So you'll already have your traffic coming from TikTok, but you'll grow even more with those tags, that title, description. The YouTube algorithm takes a close look at all of that, and they want to make sure they're giving the video to the right people. So if you tag conspiracy theory, like basically all the people who are staying up all night looking for that, they're going to find you. And that's probably the best piece of advice I could ever give, because so many people ignore the tags, ignore the title, ignore the thumbnail. And that's the worst thing you could ever do, because that's your one chance to grab them. So you always want that to be the strongest you can, the strongest title, the strongest thumbnail, the strongest hashtags, and they should all be very connected. Your name should be in all of them. JK Ultra should be in all of them. You know what I mean? It should be very like overdone. If that makes sense.
I love it. And that's, I think, too, good advice, because my YouTube right now is pretty much, I would say, 99% people who already know me from TikTok. I don't know if I've had much organic growth just from YouTube, from people finding me on YouTube. I feel like it's been mostly people who already came from TikTok, which is nice, but also to work on stuff like that makes it more like people will find me organically through YouTube.
Yeah, and if you go to the YouTube analytics, there's a reach tab. The second tab to the left, it's called reach, and it actually breaks down the past 28 days, and you can change it to like a year or whatever. But I usually look at the past 28 days, and it will show you your percentage of traffic. It'll say like 28% TikTok, 30% Facebook, 2% Twitter. And because people just come in from anywhere. I mean, you could even throw up, do you have a JK Ultra Twitter going?
I don't know. I used to have a Twitter, but
Listen,
they
like, get it thrown up, and then literally as soon as you post the video or post it, just repurpose, just throw it over there. Just throw it over there, and you'd be surprised. People will sit there and retweet your stuff.
I need to get over my grudge against Twitter.
Listen, I hate, like,
they suspended my account, so
what?
I don't even know why.
If you made a new one, it'll probably grow fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of them are helpful, because it's the strangest thing that, like, certain people use certain social media. So if you never use Twitter, you're missing the thousands of people who only use Twitter. You know what I mean? And it's not a lot, but I'm also very much like, I'll take what I can. Like, you know what I mean?
Cover the bases.
Right. But yeah, do you have any other questions? I'm definitely going to link all your stuff down below. So anyone who's interested in Jen's journey through her TikTok, her YouTube, her merch, all of that will be linked down below. But if there's anything else you need to ask me, I'm always here for you, as well as past this. Feel free to always slide in my DMs. Like, I got you.
I can't think of any questions now. If I do, I will text you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we did this. This is so good.
Thank you so much for coming on here and speaking about your journey. I know I've always loved your creator journey, and it's even cooler now that we have it recorded, because I know that people will get something from this, knowing that both you and I have been in the game a long time. So everyone,
the podcast that we recorded in that very room in 2013.
Yeah. And just, I guess the message there is always keep pushing and always believe in yourself, because that was a moment for me when you invited me on the podcast. It made me feel special. It made me feel like a creator, and I never let that go. Like, I've always been trying to fulfill that, and here I am today. So, but to everyone who thinks,
you never know when you're inspiring people by doing something, look now, you're killing it.
You're killing it. But you know what? Humbly so, I would say we deserve it. And
we do.
And to anyone who's out there, killing it and going through the hustle, just know patience is beautiful. You have to have that. You have to love what you're doing. You have to love what you're saying, and authentically the audience will come, the revenue will come, the views will come. But if you don't love your content and you don't love what's coming out of your mouth, you will find yourself burnt out and dried up very quickly. I'll say that. So thank you, Jennifer, for coming on. Like I said, guys, I will have her YouTube channel, her TikTok, all of her information link down below so you can follow her on her journey. And also don't forget to subscribe here to this channel so you can keep on learning coaching tips, and also my main variety channel for all my juicy, fun, entertainment value stuff. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. I love you, Nigel.
Love you. Bye.